You think chemistry started in a clean lab with white coats and rational thinking. Think again. Modern chemistry was born in smoke-filled rooms where alchemists chanted incantations over bubbling liquids. Their goal wasn't understanding nature, but cheating death. The first periodic tables weren't for sharing knowledge. They were mystical symbols meant to hide secrets. For centuries, alchemists chased the impossible, turning lead into gold and brewing an elixir for eternal life. They failed spectacularly, but in that failure, they accidentally invented the experimental method. They discovered new elements. They developed techniques we still use today. The quest for magic gave birth to science. This is the story of how chemistry's mystical past created our rational present. Imagine living in medieval Europe. Life expectancy is 35. Deadly diseases are a complete mystery. In this world, two dreams obsess humanity: living forever and having unlimited wealth. Alchemy promised both with a single substance: the Philosopher's Stone, a legendary material that could transmute worthless metal into pure gold and grant eternal life. It sounds ridiculous to us, but they didn't know what matter was. They saw transformation everywhere: caterpillars becoming butterflies, seeds becoming trees. So why couldn't lead become gold? Figures like Nicholas Flamel were said to have succeeded, achieving immortality. Paracelsus, a revolutionary physician, tried to create life itself in a flask. These weren't fools. They were the geniuses of their time, and beneath the magic, they were driven by a profound curiosity. They heated things, mixed them, and carefully observed the results. They were wrong about why things happened, but they were doing experiments. That impulse to manipulate the world and see what happens is the true seed of science. Picture an alchemist's workshop in the 1400s. Dim candlelight, smoke from furnaces, strange glass vessels, and shelves of mysterious powders. The alchemist consults texts written in code, using symbols of serpents and lions to describe chemical processes. It looks like a wizard's lair, but they were keeping detailed notes, recording procedures, and building knowledge through trial and error. And through this, they made real discoveries by accident. In 1669, Hennig Brand was trying to create the Philosopher's Stone from urine. He boiled hundreds of gallons of it, and one night, the residue glowed in the dark. He discovered a new element: phosphorus. Another alchemist, forced to make gold for a king, failed but invented European porcelain instead. The distillation techniques they perfected gave us purified alcohol, perfumes, and powerful new acids. All of these practical advances were byproducts of chasing a fantasy. For centuries, alchemical knowledge was kept secret. Alchemists wrote in code to protect their work from greedy rulers and rival practitioners. They describe a process as the wedding of the Red King and White Queen, instead of just writing down the recipe. But this secrecy slowed progress to a crawl. Then, in the 17th century, something changed. Thinkers like Robert Boyle, though trained in alchemy, proposed a radical new idea: publish your methods. Let others replicate your work. His book, The Skeptical Alchemist, challenged old beliefs and demanded that science be based on open, repeatable experiments. The focus shifted from personal spiritual purity to a reliable, testable process. If you follow these exact steps, you should get these exact results. This was revolutionary. It transformed private mysticism into public science. The tools were the same, but the philosophy had changed forever. This transition gave birth to the scientific method. Alchemists already had the first two steps: create a hypothesis and test it with an experiment. But they failed at the next two: analyzing results objectively and sharing them openly. Early chemists adopted the experimental spirit of alchemy, but insisted on objective analysis and public knowledge. The language changed. Vitriol became sulfuric acid. Mystical names gave way to descriptive ones. The final nail in alchemy's coffin came from Antoine Lavoisier. He proved that matter is never created or destroyed in a chemical reaction, only rearranged. This meant you couldn't just create gold from lead. His work established chemistry as a rigorous modern science. And here's the beautiful irony. Alchemists were right that elements could be transmuted. You can turn lead into gold, but you need a particle accelerator, not a chemical potion. They were chasing a real phenomenon with the wrong tools. Walk into a chemistry lab today. The beakers, flasks, and burners are all direct descendants of alchemical tools. The periodic table contains elements like mercury, sulfur, and gold, all known to ancient alchemists. Modern medicine has roots in the alchemists who first distilled plant essences. But their most important legacy is the experimental spirit, the willingness to try things, to fail repeatedly, and to keep going. Scientists today run thousands of failed experiments for every one success. That persistence, that acceptance of failure as part of discovery, that is the alchemical legacy. They remind us that science is human, driven by hope, ambition, and the desire to control our fate. They failed at their grand goals, but they built the tools that let us chip away at those same challenges today. Alchemy's greatest lesson is that transformation is possible. We can't magically turn lead into gold, but we can transform raw materials into life-saving medicines and technologies that let us explore space. Right now, scientists are pursuing today's impossible goals: artificial general intelligence, fusion power, reversing aging. Many might call these modern-day alchemy, but if history teaches us anything, it's that in pursuing the impossible, we often discover the merely difficult. In chasing fantasy, we stumble upon reality. What's your impossible goal? A skill that seems out of reach? A problem that feels unsolvable? The alchemists teach us to show up, experiment, and treat failure as data, not defeat. They were wrong about almost everything, but they were right that dedicated effort yields results often in ways you never expected. Alchemy is chemistry's shadow, but you can't have a shadow without light. The alchemists failed to make gold, but they created something far more valuable. They made modern science possible. Your pursuit might fail too, but what will you discover along the way? That is the alchemist's true gift. If this journey from magic to science inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And for more stories about how our wildest dreams created our reality, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.